Hi, so I gave birth to my baby girl. Yay! So I wanted to share with you my labor and delivery story because it was definitely not as I thought it would be. So I want to tell you what exactly happened. So here goes. Boom. Hi, so I'm back with a semi-update slash trying to see how I can get some labor going naturally so that I don't face induction medically. I am over 40 weeks. I'm past due. I was due on Wednesday. It is now Saturday night. I do feel some mild contractions, especially today, but I definitely want to help my body get things going since I had to be medically induced during my last pregnancy, and I had a horrible experience with that. I have big fears about all that, so let me sit down because I'm feeling a little uncomfortable right now and talk about that. All right. So now that I'm nice and comfortable, since I feel a lot of pressure right now, like I said, all day I've been really feeling a lot of pressure and contractions here and there, but nothing big enough to actually send me into labor. So during my last pregnancy, I had to be induced. I was past my due date, and I also had gestational diabetes, which is what made it so important for me to go ahead and get induced because my doctor was concerned about things for my health and the health of the baby. So I was induced at 40 weeks and 2 days with my son. With my daughter, I am now 40 weeks and almost 40s. And I definitely have that concern that I'll be medically induced, especially after my last appointment where they had me monitored and they did the ultrasound and started talking about setting an induction date sometime late next week. I mean, at midnight, it's next week, it's Sunday at midnight. So I'm nervous. During my last pregnancy, for my labor and delivery, I was in labor for a long time with the induction. I ended up having an epidural, and my doctor really, really wanted me to have a C-section. And I had to fight to not have a C-section, literally had to. Hi, Dougie. My dog just walked up to me. I had to fight to not have a C-section, and because I felt that it wasn't medically necessary, and it absolutely wasn't because I safely delivered my son vaginally. So I have a lot of fears around a C-section. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, so I'm trying to do what I can right now to naturally induce my labor. I tried all the little methods, like eating pineapple and walking. There was supposed to be eggplant parmesan supposed to help. Just all the little random things that are supposed to help bring on labor naturally for you. I did try the castor oil method with my son, and it did not work. It did not send me into labor. It did just make me have stomach cramps, small contractions, but it didn't send me into labor. So you can try all these methods, but if your body isn't ready, it's not going to work. So again, it may or may not work for me this time around. I am going to try that castor oil method again. For some reason, I feel like this time it may happen. The reason being is my body really feels as if it's on the brink of labor, but just can't quite make that full transition. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe my body just has trouble getting it going on its own. It just needs a little push or what have you. So I am going to try that method tonight. I'm going to do things a little bit different. Last time I just took castor oil and orange juice together. This time I'm using a little recipe that I found online that's supposed to help alleviate the negative side effects of castor oil, which can be diarrhea. So no one's diarrhea, no one's dehydration. You have to drink a lot of water. So I am going to also drink a lot of water alongside this. But I just wanted to share this with you so if it works for me, or I mean, it has worked for some other women, so we'll see. And if you are facing possible induction and you're past your due date and you'd like to see if you can help your body get things going naturally, then stay tuned and see how I put together this little concoction. Yeah, we're excited to meet Kellyanne.
Yeah, probably won't have much time left till she's here. Alright, so that's all we got. We'll be back.
Okay, so my labor was not spontaneous. I did not have a scheduled C-section. I did not have a scheduled induction. I induced my labor at home naturally, and it worked. I actually can't believe how efficiently it worked. And I knew that on my next appointment on Monday that I would be scheduling an induction date, and I just did not want to be medically induced. I did not have a good experience with it during my first pregnancy, and with medical interventions, sometimes it can be a domino effect where if you have one, then it causes you get the other, and finally we're at C-section. So, and I'm very afraid of having a C-section. So I thought, okay, I need to do something about this. I need to help get my labor going. And all week long, I tried all the tricks. I did everything, and the last resort was the castor oil trick. So with my son, I did the castor oil trick. I took castor oil and orange juice, and it did not work. It just gave me the runs. I went to the hospital hoping that these cramps were real contractions, and they were not. They were just cramps, and I had to be medically induced. So I knew that the orange juice castor oil thing was just not what I was trying to do. So I kept on doing research, and I saw this recipe several places called the Midwife'S Brew. So I kept looking into it, and I kept reading up on other women who had tried it. It did involve castor oil. The ingredients were castor oil, lemon verbena oil, which I had to end up substituting for the actual tea because I couldn't find the oil, and apricot juice and almond butter. So I pulled up my food scale and my Vitamix and ran around with my husband that evening to collect all of the ingredients, and I made it a big old batch, and I had to drink it within 30 minutes. So I did that. I drank it within 30 minutes. Absolutely nasty. It's disgusting. So I drank it, and then started preparing. I started getting my stuff together, making sure everything was in the car. My son was asleep at the time. My mother was already here to watch him. So my husband and I just kind of just waited around for any signs of labor. And about 2 or 3 hours after drinking the concoction, I began to feel some mild contractions that were pretty consistent. So I informed my doula, and I also informed my midwife that I was feeling some mild contractions, and that I thought I could be going into labor, but I didn't know. My midwife said, oh, you probably could stay at home a little longer, but it just depends. I live really far from the hospital, so I thought it was better for me to just go ahead and get over to the hospital because they were progressing. So I told my doula I was on my way, and I let her know that I'll find out if I'm getting admitted, and don't leave. I knew she was really close to the hospital, so I said don't leave until I know that I've been admitted. So I get to the triage and everything. They hook me up to the monitors, and they're following my contractions and the baby's activity, and they obviously checked me to see how many centimeters I was dilated. Now, when I was in the office, they told me that I was dilated 3 centimeters. But for some reason, when I was in the hospital, they were checking me and they said, no, you're only 2 centimeters. You're only dilated 2 centimeters. And I thought they were going to send me home because I definitely have friends who were dilated 2 centimeters at the hospital and they were sent home. But my midwife said, you know what, your contraction pattern is so consistent that I don't feel comfortable sending you home with contractions this consistent. So we're going to admit you. So they decided to admit me around 12. No, it was way later than that. It was about 3:30, almost 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's when I informed my doula around 4:30 that I was being admitted and that she should come to the hospital. Then things went really, really fast. So that's why I don't have any footage after that, because all of a sudden my contractions went from me managing them, like, you know, breathe in, oh, breathe out, you know, calm, to, oh God, no, help me. I mean, like that. And I kept screaming, check me, oh my God. I was still in triage. I'm like, check me. So a nurse came and checked me, and then she's telling me, well, she's like 6-7 centimeters. Mind you, I'd only been there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, it was not that long, and I just went from 2 to like 6, like that. And so they are wheeling me off to my labor and delivery room finally, and I'm just going through it. My doula is still not there yet, and I'm just like, you know, it's my fault. I should have told her, but my God, like, it was like an hour, but whatever. So she's still not there, and I'm just going through it. I do not know how to manage this pain. That's why I hired my doula, because I needed someone to assist me through this pain if I was going to go natural. So in the moment, I was just like, you know what? Wait, why am I having natural birth again? I had no idea. In between those contractions, I had no idea. And I don't know if it had to do with the actual brew I took to induce my contractions or not, but my contractions were coming 3 at a time. So, you know, it's like a chart, and it has, like, you know, the little bells and everything for the chart, right? You know, bell curves. And mine were going up, and then when they started to come down, they went right back up, and then they started to come down, and they went right back up, and then finally went down and gave me a 1-minute break. So it was intense, and I was moving through labor very fast, obviously, because I went from 2 to 6 very quickly. So I started to then say, I don't want to go natural anymore. I want an epidural, and I want one now. So every time someone came in the room, I said, epidural? Like, oh, he's on his way. I'm like, okay. Going through contractions, epidural. Every time. So finally, the anesthesiologist got there, hooked me up, gave me an epidural, and again, he came very quickly after I started requesting it, when I was about 7 centimeters. And an hour later, my midwife came and she checked me, and she said, do you feel the urge to push? I was like, no, I don't feel anything. I'm numb. And she's like, well, you're over 9 centimeters in an hour. You're with an epidural, which normally slows down things. She said, you're 9 centimeters, so we're going to get ready to push soon. I'll be right back, because my water hadn't broken yet either. So she was like, I'll come back, I'll break your water, you know, we'll do all that stuff. So I was like, okay. Mind you, my doula's there by now, but I'm numb, you know, I'm rested, I'm relaxing. And you know, of course, my blood pressure is being checked all the time when we have the epidural. The epidural does drop your blood pressure, and I'm already a little low with my blood pressure, so they were really monitoring that, but everything was fine. And yeah, my midwife was really relaxed and calm, and there was actually a really long period between her saying I was 9 centimeters and us actually pushing. I mean, maybe an hour and a half. So she was just really relaxed. And she came back in and broke my water, and we began pushing. It took me about 45 minutes to push her out. The reason was because I was so numb. They were saying, you know, she's right there, you can just push her right on out, like, she's right there. And I'm like, I cannot feel her. I can't feel a thing. So I told them to turn off the epidural. And so they turned off the epidural, and it took a while for it to kind of wear off a bit, but once it wore off just enough for me to have a sensation down there, that's when I pushed her right on out. I mean, as soon as the sensation came, I was like, up, this push, she's gonna come, I'm pushing her right on out. And you know what, she came right on out. So it was quick, it was fast. And yeah, I had her the next morning. I got there early in the morning, you know, what, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and she was out and on my chest and ready to go at 11. So that was that. I did not tear. So definitely the evening primrose oil did help, you know, and keep me from tearing. With my son, I definitely tore. She was 6 pounds, 5 ounces, 20 inches long. She was born on Father's Day, June 21st, on the summer solstice. She's kind of on the cusp of being a Gemini and Cancer. So she was just, I don't know, it was unbelievable. I really can't believe the stuff worked. And I can't believe it worked so efficiently and so fast, and just, I had a baby, you know, in less than 24 hours, in less than 12 hours, I had a baby. So it was crazy, but worth it. She's a joy. She's such a good baby. She's sleeping right now, and I'm looking at a monitor to make sure she's still sleeping, but she's still sleeping, and she's just so yummy, and I just want to smell her. And if she could talk, she would think that I was being weird, but she's just yummy. So yeah, that was my labor and delivery story. You know, my experience in the hospital, I hate being at the hospital. I'm always ready to go because I'm very controlling, and I don't like someone waking me up in the middle of the night when I have to wake up every 2 hours, and as soon as I go to sleep, someone's waking me up to check my vitals. That was really annoying. So I was very, very ready to go home. We got home, no problems. My son absolutely adores her. He's 22 months, and it's been amazing just having a newborn. I feel as if my family's complete now that I have my 2 children. I've always wanted a boy and a girl, and I have them.